let's look at format support. So, if you search for MapInfo when you're using FME, you'll find that there are 4 readers and writers. Let's do that now. First of all, we'll launch FME. We're using FME 2012 today. And if we create a new workflow and generate a workspace, you'll see I can type MapInfo and I get access to 4 formats. If we do this in the IntelliComplete dialog box, we get a shortened list. If we actually go over to the catalogue and search, the same is true, we get a shorter list. You can see MapInfo MIF-MID, MapInfo Spatialware, and 2 MapInfo formats for tab, MFAL and MyTab. We'll look at the differences between these 2 formats shortly. So, the MapInfo Spatialware reader-writer was generated to provide Informix and Microsoft SQL Server users with access to a spatial geometry type, SW geometry. That now has admittedly been largely superseded by spatial technology advances on the database itself. SQL Server Spatial 2008 and Oracle Spatial have rendered the MapInfo Spatialware reader-writer largely unnecessary, but it still exists for legacy reasons. MapInfo MIF is a reader and a writer, and it's an interchange format. Those of you familiar with MapInfo will know that the MIF file contains the vector information and the MID file contains the data. It's often used and supported in proprietary systems that accept MIF-MID for input or they export to MIF-MID, and often that's coupled with another format, DXF. So it's worth knowing about this format for exporting and importing data into other systems. I mentioned we'd talk about MapInfo's tab file format. There are 2, and the differences can be important. The MFAL, or MapInfo Tab Reader Writer, is largely the one that I would recommend, as it uses the official libraries from Pitney Bowes software. It does produce a better spatial index than MyTab, but there is a performance cost. Those of you that work with MapInfo know that there are a number of files that are found in a tab file. The tab file itself is the header information, the map contains the geometry, the DAT has the attribution, and the ID links the 2 together. If you have 1 or more columns in your data that has an index on it, the IND file will exist as well. The MyTab Reader Writer is slightly different. It actually is an open source library to access the MapInfo tab format. One of the main benefits that you'll find is that it has the ability to read the MDB component of a MapInfo tab file, where this exists instead of a DAT file. So it's worth knowing that this capability exists on the MyTab reader. If you'd like to know more about these reader and writers, then go and take a look at FMEpedia. It's a really useful resource, and there's lots of information and specific pages on these 2 formats.